The desert was quiet. Hot wind rolled across the red sand, pushing dust into the air. The twin suns above burned the land with no mercy. In that heat, nothing moved, except for one man. His name was Roran. He walked alone, his face hidden behind goggles and a cloth mask. A small scanner blinked in his hand. He wasn't looking for water. He wasn't looking for shade. He was looking for salvage. Old tech, scrap, lost machines, anything left behind by the wars. Roran was a scavenger. I don't know, it wasn't a good job, but it kept him alive. He moved toward a small hill of sand. Ice. His scanner beeped louder now. Something was buried beneath the surface. He dropped to one knee and brushed the sand away. Metal, a flat surface. Square edges, and a worn symbol that was hard to read. It looked like a crate big enough to hold cargo. A person, Roran frowned. Could be sealed gear, maybe war supplies. He pulled out a tool and began to pry it open. Then he heard it. A soft sound. A voice. Please, open. He froze. The wind pushed past him, but the sound came again, clear and broken. Someone, please. I'm still alive. Stood up, heart pounding. The voice was coming from inside the crate. He looked around. The desert was empty. No footprints. No other signals. He leaned closer to the crate and spoke. Who's in there? No answer. Just another whisper. Help me. Roran dropped to the sand again and worked faster. The locks were old, half broken. It looked like someone had tried to seal this crate from the outside, not open it. That didn't feel right. After a few minutes, the latch popped open with a hiss of air and a click. Now the crate unlocked. The lid creaked as Roran lifted it, and what he saw made him stop breathing. Inside, curled up and shivering, was a woman, an alien woman. Her skin was pale violet, cracked from dryness. Her white hair was tangled. Chains were locked around her wrists and ankles. Her lips were dry and bleeding. Her eyes opened slightly, glowing gold, weak and full of fear. She tried to speak, but her voice cracked into silence. Roran dropped his tools and pulled out a water pouch. Here, he said. Drink. She looked at him, unsure, scared. But she opened her mouth slowly. He poured water gently onto her tongue. She coughed, but swallowed. Then her eyes rolled back. She collapsed inside the crate. Roran acted fast. He pulled her out of the box, cradling her thin body in his arms. She was light, too light, like someone who hadn't eaten in weeks. He wrapped her in his spare cloth, covering her skin from the sun, and carried her toward his speeder bike parked nearby. I don't know who you are, he said softly, but I'm not leaving you here. An hour later, inside his small trailer shelter, the woman lay on a mat, wrapped in blankets. The air inside was cool. A small fan blew across her skin. Her wrists were still chained, but Roran hadn't removed them yet. He wasn't sure if she was dangerous. He sat across the room, watching her breathe. Who would bury someone alive in the desert? He scanned the crate again. No ID number, no shipping tag. But he found something strange, a hidden panel under the floor of the crate. He opened it. Inside was a small black device. A signal transmitter, broken or maybe turned off. Tracking tag, Roran muttered. Was she being watched? He pulled out a scanner and ran it over her body. Her vitals were weak but steady. Blood pressure low, heart rate stable. But then the scanner blinked red. Genetic class. Restricted warning. Priority kill order active. Hey! Roran stared at the screen. What the hell? The woman stirred. Her eyes opened. She saw him. She tried to speak. Don't. Send me back. I'm not, Roran said, kneeling beside her. I don't know who you are, but you're safe here. She tried to lift her hand. The chain rattled. Her voice shook. They buried me, 'cause I saw too much. He frowned. Who buried you? Her lips trembled. They called me. Mistake. Before he could ask more, she passed out again. Roran sat back slowly. The suns were setting outside. But inside this trailer, something dangerous had awakened. Asterisk, The desert night was quiet now. Inside the shelter, the air was cool, but Roran couldn't sleep. He sat on a small stool beside the mat, where the alien girl lay wrapped in blankets. Her skin had a little more color now. Her chest rose and fell in a slow rhythm. The bruises on her wrists had started to fade, but her chains were still locked. Roran hadn't cut them, not yet. He didn't know what she could do, or what she really was. The scanner on the table still blinked red. Class restricted. Termination order? Active. That meant she wasn't just a prisoner. She was wanted dead. Roran rubbed his face and stared at her. "Who are you?" He whispered. Then she stirred. Her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened slowly. Golden, sharp, but dim like stars about to die. She saw him. She blinked. Her dry lips parted. He stood and brought water again. She drank slowly this time, watching him with quiet fear. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "You're safe," Roran replied. "My shelter, about 30 clicks from the market ridge. I found you in that crate." She closed her eyes briefly. "How long since I found you?" "A few hours." "No," she whispered. "Since they buried me," he hesitated. "I don't know." She let out a small breath, long enough to forget. "What day it is? What's your name?" he asked. She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "Kelly." It didn't sound like a lie. He nodded. "I'm Roran." Kelly looked down at her wrists. The metal cuffs were still there. "You think I'm dangerous? Should I?" She didn't answer. Instead, she said, "I was a witness, not a threat." Roran sat back. "A witness to what?" Her eyes clouded. "To what they were building. Under the labs." Roran narrowed his eyes. "What labs?" "The ones beneath the desert, beneath the sand." "They buried more than just me, Roran." A cold chill ran down his spine. "You were part of an experiment," she nodded. "They told me I was born with the wrong kind of blood. I had no right to carry the gene, but it activated on its own, and they panicked." "What gene?" Kelly looked straight at him. "The Earthlink key." Roran stiffened. He'd heard those words before years ago, during the war. It was an old rumor. That alien scientists tried to build a genetic key that could control Earth tech, override human weapons, hack ships, break defenses. No one ever found proof, until now. "Wait," he said slowly. "You're saying your blood can talk to human systems?" "Yes," she whispered. "I never asked for it." She pulled her arm out of the blanket and turned it palm up. A faint light moved under her skin like veins of gold, pulsing quietly. When it activated, I heard machines speak. Codes, doors opened that weren't supposed to. They called me an error, and they buried me. Roran stared at the light in her skin. "How are you alive?" She closed her hand. "I don't know. Maybe they thought I'd die quickly. Maybe they didn't want to risk killing me where others could see." Looked at the scanner again. It still blinked. "They know you're alive now." Kelly looked toward the door. "Then you need to let me go. You helped me. That's enough. If they trace me here, they'll kill you too." Roran stood and walked over to a locker. He opened it, pulled out a small cutter tool, and returned. Kelly's eyes widened. "You're freeing me?" He knelt beside her. "I'm not leaving you out there again," he said. "If they buried you once, they'll do worse next time." He cut the first chain, then the second. Kelly let out a quiet breath, part relief, part disbelief. "You don't know me," she said. "Why would you risk this?" Roran looked at her calm. "Because when I was young, a human officer saved my life. No reason, just did it. I swore I'd pay that forward one day." Kelly blinked hard. "You think I'm worth saving?" Roran smirked. "Not sure yet. But I'm guessing you're more than just glowing blood." Kelly gave a weak smile, her first, but the moment was short. A loud beep echoed from the console. Roran turned. Incoming signal detected. Unregistered ship landing. Kelly's face turned pale. "They found me." "No," Roran said, standing fast. "They found us." He grabbed his rifle. Kelly struggled to stand, legs shaking, but she was stronger now. "What do we do?" He handed her a cloak. "We run." but not forever. We find out what they buried. We're still breathing. The ship landed in silence. No sound, no lights, no warning. Roran and Kelly watched through a crack in the rocky ridge, hidden behind dry desert stone. The sandstorm had started to rise again, but even the wind dared not touch the black ship resting. On the ground below, its shape was smooth and sharp. It's almost like a knife. No markings, no crew stepped out. Kelly's voice was quiet, but heavy with fear. "That's not just a hunter ship. That's a purifier." Roran frowned. "What's a purifier?" She turned to him slowly. "It's a ship they send when they want to erase something. Not kill. Erase. It's people. Places. Proof." Roran's grip on his rifle tightened. A hatch on the ship's underside hissed open. A thin drone floated out, long needle-shaped, scanning the sand with red light. "They're looking for you," Roran muttered. "No," Kelly said. "They're looking for what's inside me." She rolled up her sleeve. The veins in her arm glowed faintly again, not just golden this time, but shifting like code running beneath her skin. "What is that?" Roran asked. Kelly touched her own arm gently. "The Earthlink code. It wasn't meant to stay in me. It was supposed to transfer into something bigger." "Like what?" She looked at him. "A weapon or a command." "They built me to speak. 2 machines older than your world." Roran's eyes narrowed. "Older than Earth." She nodded. "There are things buried in this galaxy. Ships with no pilots. Systems that sleep. Waiting for a voice they understand. That voice is in my blood. Now." Roran's heart pounded. "And if they erase you, the voice is gone forever." They crouched lower as the drone passed overhead, scanned the rocks, then moved on. Roran pulled Kelly back gently. "We can't stay here." Kelly held her head. "There's something else. When the code activates, I feel pieces of it in my mind. Like I remember things I was never taught." She looked at him. "Coordinates, names, symbols, I think. I think the blood carries more than code. It carries a map." Roran stared at her. "A map to what?" "To whatever they fear the most," she whispered. Suddenly the drone stopped midair. It turned slowly, then pointed toward their ridge. "Move," Roran said. Grabbing her hand, they ran through the rocks, boots hitting sand hard. Behind them, the drone flashed red and fired a tracer round. It hit just above their heads, blasting a chunk of rock to dust. Kelly fell. Roran turned and fired back. His pulse rifle lit the night in flashes. The drone dodged, fast, too fast. Kelly rolled to her side and lifted her glowing arm. "Cover me," she shouted. Roran fired again, forcing the drone back. Kelly held, her hand toward the sky. She whispered something in a language Roran didn't understand, not words, but sounds that didn't feel natural. The veins in her arm glowed bright, then pulsed outward. A soft wave of gold shot through the air. The drone froze. Its red eye blinked once, then dimmed. It fell from the sky like a stone. Lifeless Roran stared. "You shut it down." "I spoke the code," she said, breathing hard. It listened. "You can control them?" "Not all," she said. "Only the old ones. The ones built before loyalty was programmed in." She stood up slowly, legs shaking. "But the code inside me is waking up now, which means the others will come." Roran helped her up. "Then we need answers. Real ones." Kelly nodded. "There's a place. Near the Scarline Mountains. I don't know how I know it, but the name keeps coming back," she whispered. "Cavern Sigma 4. Roran blinked. "That's a ghost site. They say no one who goes near it ever returns." Kelly looked him in the eyes. "And it's the perfect place to bury secrets." He took a deep breath. "Then that's where we go." Later back inside the shelter, Roran patched up Kelly's arm while checking the maps. "I still don't get it," he muttered. "Why you? I put that kind of code into a living body?" Kelly didn't speak for a moment, then softly said, "Because machines can be hacked, but a girl no one notices. She can hide something forever." Roran looked at her, and for the first time, truly saw the pain behind her quiet strength. "Not anymore," he said. "They'll notice now." Kelly nodded. "Then we make them regret it." But far across the system, a new signal activated. A tall figure stood inside a dark command room. Looking at a glowing map, a single red light blinked near the Scarline Mountains. He turned to his soldiers and said one word. Find her. Asterisk, the wind howled between the cliffs. Sharp rocks rose high on both sides, carving a narrow path through the red desert. Roran's bike crawled through the canyon, engine low, lights off. Kelly sat behind him, holding tightly, her head resting. Against his back, they had been riding for hours toward cavern. Sigma-4, no map showed it. No signal reached it. But Kelly knew where to go, not with sight, but with something deeper. A whisper in her blood, guiding her. Code that wanted to go home. Almost there, she said softly. Roran nodded, though the canyon looked the same in every direction. Then the bike's lights flickered. The engine coughed. C.A. Eli sat up. We've crossed the perimeter. It's reacting. Roran stopped the bike. We walk from here. They grabbed their packs and climbed up the final slope at the top. Kelly froze. Below them, hidden between sharp cliffs, was a black circle. In the rock. A perfect round entrance, half covered in dust. No door. No symbols. Just silence. That's it, she whispered. Roran scanned the area. No heat signatures. No movement. Let's find out what's inside, he said. They stepped into darkness. The air was cold, still, and too clean, filtered, ancient. Lights on the wall blinked on as they moved, one by one, following Kelly's presence. And the deeper they walked, the smoother the floor became. Not stone, but metal. Someone built this. Before even the wars, Roran muttered. Kelly touched the wall. A small section lit up. Her hand triggered a hidden panel. A hologram appeared. It showed a strange diagram, a map of the galaxy, with several red dots blinking. Roran leaned closer. What are those? Kelly tilted her head. Sleepers. What? She pointed at one blinking dot. This one. It's not a planet. It's a ship. A living system, waiting for a voice to wake it. You mean like the drone you stopped? She nodded, but bigger, stronger. Old Earth tech fused with alien code. Weapons. Meant to destroy empires. Roran stared at her. You carry the command for all of that? Kelly looked away. Not the full command, just the key. Without me, they stay sleeping. With me? Roran finished her sentence. They burned the galaxy. She stepped away from the wall. I didn't choose this. I know, he said. They moved deeper. The hallway opened into a large chamber. Roran stopped at the edge. His eyes widened. There were dozens of pods lined along the walls, glass coffins, filled with frozen bodies. Some alien, some... Kelly walked slowly among them. They were the test subjects, she whispered. I remember now, bits and pieces. They took pieces of humans, DNA, language, command pathways, and combined them with alien tech. She pointed to a frozen body. That one. He spoke Earth code like a machine. They called him Bridge 1. Did it work? Roran asked. She looked at her own hand. I'm Bridge 4. Roran took a step back. But then he reached forward and gently touched her arm. You're not a bridge, he said. You're a person. And you're not alone. She looked at him. The first time, she believed him. Suddenly, the room lights flashed red. A low hum filled the cavern. Kelly gasped. They found us. No signal should reach here, Roran said. But Kelly pointed up to the glowing crystal embedded in the ceiling. It's not a signal. It's a pulse. A trigger. Roran raised his rifle. From the far wall, metal panels slid open. 4 machines stepped out, not like the drone before. These were taller than men, sleek and glowing red. Their heads were round, their arms sharpened into weapons. They didn't speak. They just charged. Roran fired as blasts hit the lead bot in the chest, knocking it back. The second one slashed with a blade. Roran ducked, rolled, and shot its leg out. Kelly fell to her knees. Her eyes glowed gold now. Speak to them, Roran shouted. I can't. These aren't listening. They're deadlocked. Then we break the lock. He tossed her the pulse transmitter. Use it. Focus your voice through the core. Kelly grabbed it with shaking hands. She placed the device over her chest. It latched on. The machines closed in. One lifted a blaster straight at Roran's head. Kelly screamed, but not in fear, in command. Her voice echoed through the chamber, like thunder, not in words, but in code. The machines stopped mid-strike. Their red lights blinked, then turned off. They collapsed, lifeless. Kelly dropped forward, panting. Roran caught her. You did it, whispered. But Kelly looked toward the main pod at the far end of the chamber. It's not over. Roran turned. That pod wasn't like the others. It was glowing. Waking up Eli stood slowly. He's coming, she said. The first command corps. The one they were scared of. Roran aimed his rifle. Then, let him try. The pod at the far end of the chamber pulsed like a heartbeat. Faint, steady, growing louder. Kelly stepped toward it slowly, her legs trembling, her voice barely above a whisper. He's not alive. Not like us. Roran kept his rifle raised. Then what is he? She didn't answer. The glass hissed. Steam rose from the seals. The front slid open, and inside stood something that looked human, but WASN, tall, pale gray skin, no hair. Eyes like black mirrors. His chest had a glowing emblem, a half circle wrapped in 3 broken stars. His body was covered in armor made from a blend of metal and organic thread. Not grown. Not built. Forged. His eyes opened, and he spoke a single word in a flat, machine-like voice. Activation. Kelly gasped. Her crystal pulsed hard under her skin. Her knees buckled. Roran caught her. The being stepped out of the pod. He looked at Kelly, then at the dead machines on the floor. Command Corps 4 has survived containment, he said. Who are you? Ron demanded. I am Corps 0, first of the Ghost Line, guardian of the key, final voice of Old Earth Authority. At least Days' voice trembled. You were supposed to be dormant. I was, Corps 0 said, until your signal awoke the fleet. Roran stiffened. What fleet? The lights on the wall changed. A map unfolded in hologram form, filling the room. It showed hundreds of ships scattered across the stars. Huge vessels shaped like daggers, towers, and floating cities with no crew aboard. They all pulsed in rhythm with Kelly's corps. The Ghost Fleet, she whispered. Corps 0 nodded. They were built during Earth's last war. Too powerful. Too unpredictable. The leaders feared what they had created. So they shut the system down. He pointed at Kelly. But not before hiding the key in your bloodline. Kelly looked shocked. My family was part of this. Yes, you are. The 4th vessel. The others failed. You succeeded. Roran stepped between them. If she's the key, why did they try to kill her? Corps 0 turned his head, almost curious. Because the fleet obeys no nation. It's no law. Only the key bearers will. And your enemies fear she will not kneel. Kelly backed up. I don't want to control anyone. I never asked for this. You do not need to want, said Corps 0. You only need to choose. The map blinked again. One of the ghost ships, the largest, began to move. It heard her signal, Corps 0 said. Comes now to test her voice. Roran looked at Kelly. Test how? If it accepts her, Corps 0 said, she becomes commander of the fleet. If it does not, he paused. It will erase her. Kelly's face went pale. Roran stepped forward. We'll stop it. You cannot, Corps 0 replied. It does not answer to you. Suddenly, the hologram zoomed in, showing a massive vessel emerging. From deep orbit, Kelly recognized it instantly. That ship. It's not from this system. No, Corps 0 said. It was hidden in a fold between stars, waiting for her. Outside the cavern, the sky darkened. The ship entered atmosphere, massive and silent. Its engines made no noise. It was longer than 10 cities, shaped like a blade. With a black surface that swallowed light, the people in nearby outposts stared upward. In fear, it didn't attack. It just hovered above Ka Eli back in the chamber. Kelly shook her head. I'm not ready. Yes, Core Zero said. You are. He stepped aside. A new console rose from the floor made of black stone and silver metal. Its surface shimmered with code locked tight. Kelly walked forward. Slowly, Roran grabbed her hand. You don't have to do this alone. She looked up at him, eyes soft. I was always alone, until you pulled me out of the sand. She squeezed his hand once, then stepped forward. Her fingers hovered over the console. She spoke not in any common tongue, but in the forgotten code of her ancestors. Her voice was soft, steady. The console lit up outside. The ship responded. It turned slowly in the air, its nose no longer aimed at her, but toward the horizon. And then it spoke. Command accepted, awaiting next order. The ground shook. Inside the chamber, Core Zero bowed his head. The fleet is yours. Kelly turned back, breathless. Roran looked at her, stunned. You did it. No, she said, voice shaking. I just opened the door. She looked toward the stars. Now I have to decide what walks through. But far across the galaxy, others were watching. A masked figure slammed his fist on the control table. She unlocked the signal. He growled. Another voice replied. Then we send the destroyers. Before the humans remember who they were. The sky was no longer quiet. From beyond the moons, ships poured in, fast, silent, and black like knives. They came not to warn, not to talk. They came to erase. Kelly stood on the plateau above the cavern, wind whipping through her white cloak. Behind her, the ghost ship hovered like a silent giant, waiting for her command. Below, Roran stood by the transmitter station, trying to boost a signal Earth hadn't used in 100 years. They're jamming every old frequency, he said. They don't want anyone to know you're awake. Kelly didn't turn. Her golden eyes were fixed on the stars. They're afraid of what Earth still remembers. Roran paused. You think Earth will answer you? She nodded. If they're still out there, they'll hear me. And if they're not, then I'll be the last voice they left behind. On the horizon, the enemy fleet appeared. 3 destroyers shaped like giant spears, glowing with cold fire. The enemy didn't fire yet. They hovered like vultures, waiting. For her to run, Kelly stepped forward. They're trying to provoke me. Roran looked up. What do they want? To prove the key doesn't belong in human hands, she said. To show that I'm weak or dangerous. Then show them they're wrong. Kelly turned to him. If I fight back, it won't be a skirmish. This fleet, it wasn't built to scare. It was built to end wars. Once I give the order, I can't take it back. Roran stepped closer, voice low. Then make sure your first order saves someone. Kelly looked into his eyes and whispered, Stay near me. Core Zero appeared beside them, walking without sound. They will attack in under 1 minute, Kelly asked. What happens if I don't respond? They will destroy this place, then hunt you across systems until nothing remains. If I fight, they will burn. Kelly glanced once at Roran. He gave her the faintest nod, not as a soldier, as a friend who trusted her heart. She raised her hand toward the sky. The ghost ship lit up. Lines of golden fire ran down. Its surface, symbols ancient and fierce. Kelly whispered, Unlock Earth Protocol. The ship spoke back in a deep, thunderous voice. Earth Protocol unlocked. Command confirmed. Engage primary defense. Kelly didn't shout. She didn't flinch. Her next words were calm. Shield the humans. Remove the threat. The night turned gold. The ghost ship pulsed once and vanished. A heartbeat later, it reappeared above the destroyers and unleashed. No lasers, no beams. Just force pure gravity bent into a weapon. One enemy ship collapsed inward, crushed by invisible pressure. Second tried to run. The ghost ship blinked forward, tore straight through it without slowing down. The third opened fire in panic. Energy blasts rained across the desert. Kelly raised both hands. A shimmer of gold surrounded her and Roran. The blasts struck the barrier and dissolved like mist. Behind them, ancient tech from Cavern Sigma 4 came to life. towers unfolding, cannons rising, all powered by Kelly's voice. But she didn't use them. She lowered her hands. "It's done," she said softly. Only dust remained in the sky. Later, inside the cavern, Kelly sat alone near the console. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from weight. Roran walked in, carrying a drink. "You won," he said. Kelly shook her head. "I didn't win. I proved I can destroy. But that's not what scares them. What scares them is what I might remember next." She looked up at him. "What if there's more? What if I wasn't made to protect, but to conquer?" Roran sat beside her. "Then you'll choose something better. You already have." Kelly's voice cracked. "But I feel it, Roran. Inside me, the old commands, the cold logic. It wants to finish what Earth started." Roran reached out, touched her shoulder. "Then let's rewrite the code together." She blinked, surprised. He smiled. "You said your blood holds Earth's voice. Then let's make sure that voice sounds human, not perfect, not clean." She stared at him, and for the first time since she'd been found, Kelly felt hope. Far above, Core Zero activated a final sequence in orbit. Something enormous blinked awake. Not a ship, not a weapon. A vault buried in the dark between stars. Inside it, 1,000 metal pods lit up. Each one carried a name. Each one carried Earth's last will. And one by one, they opened. Asterisk. In the black void above the stars, the vault floated open, silent and ancient. Each pod inside carried memories from a forgotten war. Inside them were not weapons, but humans, the last defenders, placed in stasis 5 centuries ago. Their bodies preserved, their minds wired to a single program. Wait for the key, then rise. And now the key had spoken. Her name. On the desert world below, Kelly stood at the entrance of Cavern Sigma 4, her white cloak fluttering in the hot wind. Behind her, Roran watched the sky, watching history awaken. "How many of them are there?" he asked Core. Zero answered from the shadows. 1,000, not clones, not soldiers. Legacies. Kelly stared upward, her eyes glowing faintly. Gold. She could feel them, every name, every memory sealed in the vault. It was like someone whispering the names of ghosts into her heart. "They were the ones Earth couldn't let die," she said quietly. "But couldn't let live either?" Roran stepped closer. "Why?" "'Cause they were too loyal," she replied. "Too powerful. Too... ... human." High above, inside the vault, the stasis pods opened with a hiss. Men and women stepped out, some in battle armor, others in rags. Their eyes were confused at first, blinking at the new galaxy. But then they heard her. Kelly didn't speak words. She spoke memory, pain, loss, love, survival. She didn't command them. She shared her truth. That she was buried in sand, chained, nearly erased. That a human stranger had freed her, not for war, but for kindness. And that kindness had done what all machines failed to do. It had woken her. The vault survivors felt it. Not in their minds, but in their blood. And then they stood, one by one, without question, without fear. "They're coming," Core Zero said, "to stand with you. But you must choose their purpose." Kelly frowned. "Purpose. They will obey your will. Destroy. Or rebuild. Rule or serve. It is your right." Roran stepped forward. "Oh, it's her choice." Kelly closed her eyes. Inside her core, systems waited. 1,000 commands, fleets ready to fire. Worlds marked in red, but she erased all of it, with one thought. She spoke gently into the system. No conquest. No. Only protection. Only peace. And then something strange happened. The gold light in her chest faded not into darkness, but into warmth. The war programming inside her disconnected. But the link to the humans in the vault remained, because it was no longer control. It was connection. Real. Human connection. Core Zero blinked. Unthinkable. He muttered, What? Roran asked. She rejected the protocol, Core Zero said. And yet, the fleet still listens. The humans still follow, Roran smiled, because she didn't make them soldiers. She made them family. Kelly turned to him. You gave me something they never taught me in the lab, she said softly. What? She touched his hand, a reason to protect. Suddenly, the wind shifted. A massive dark shadow passed overhead. Not the ghost ship, but a different ship. A strange one, black and red, covered in scars. Emitting a signal Kelly had never heard before. Core Zero froze. That's not part of the vault. Kelly's eyes narrowed. Then what is it? Before anyone could answer, a voice echoed through the sky. This is the final tribunal of the Unified Galactic Concord. Stand down and surrender the key. She is now classified as a galactic-level threat. Kelly looked up calm, unafraid. I'm not a threat, she said. I'm a choice. They fired without warning, but before the blast could hit, a wall of silver armor dropped from orbit, the vault survivors falling like stars. They caught the blast midair and pushed it away. Kelly didn't flinch. She looked at Core Zero. Tell the fleet. She stepped forward, raising her hands to the sky. We don't start wars, but we finish them. The sky lit up. The ghost fleet emerged, hundreds of invisible ships, decloaking across the stars. Their engines hummed like distant thunder. The tribunal ship froze, and then fled. Not a shot was fired. They ran from one voice. One name, one human.ca. Eli later, as the dust settled, Roran and Kelly stood side by side, watching the stars. Return to silence. Do you think Earth saw us today? Roran asked. Kelly smiled. I think we are Earth now. She leaned against him, and we're not finished yet.